Welcome to the Decision Lab podcast, the sanctuary for wellness professionals like therapists, coaches, creators, and more who are looking to over-deliver to their clients.
We uncover the truth behind cutting-edge wellness products by going straight to the founder.
We use our backgrounds in neuroscience, chemical engineering, and marketing to ask the hard questions in order to eliminate bias, misinformation, and fancy marketing language.
Allowing you to make better wellness decisions and recommendations for yourself and your clients.
So if you're a leader in the health and wellness space, welcome. This podcast was designed for you.
Join us every week for interviews that will change how you think about wellness. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Decision Lab podcast. And today we're talking to Natalie Garner. Natalie is a visionary who blends resilience, heart, and purpose into every step of her journey. After a 20-year career in big pharma and biotech, she co-founded Dr. Doug's Miracle Balms with her husband, Doug. She is passionate about creating clean, organic, and non-toxic skincare that truly works. And her mission is to simplify skincare for everyone, from busy moms to athletes, offering all natural solutions that meet daily skin needs. Natalie's vision goes beyond skincare. It's about empowering people to embrace wellness with toxin-free products, creating healthier, more authentic lives. Welcome to the Decision Lab podcast, Natalie. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. One of the first questions I love to ask people is, if I asked your mom and your dad to explain you in 3 words, what would they say?
Wow, that's a really good one. I would say hardworking. They think I work too much. Loyal. And what would a word be for always there for everyone?
Consistent?
One word.
Present?
I guess you could say consistent. I was trying to put that into one word, but those are the 3 things you would hear from my mother for sure.
Nice. Hardworking, loyal, and always there for people.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I like that. Has that helped you in your career?
I think it has. I think I've had to learn how to say no more. Being an entrepreneur now, I mean, there's definitely times where I've had to learn to say more or say no, but I love to do things. I love to do things that help other people. I mean, that's what drives me. So
What's your hack? Do you have a hack for no?
a hack.
For saying no?
Well, I guess I have realized lately that I just need to step back and think, is this going to get me to that end goal? And what is, when all of us are looking to exit and if that word's called retired, I don't even know if that really exists anymore. But when we're ready to exit our businesses or whatever we're doing, what is our end goal? What do we want to be? What do we want? And I've started thinking every time I'm looking to take time away from the things that I know I want, spend time with my family, to travel, to really have that. It's really all about family for me. But if I really want that in the end, if I'm taking away all that time from it now, does that make sense? So looking at, what is my end goal? What do I need to do to get there? And if somebody asks me for something that's totally not taking me in the right direction, then I need to rewind and refresh. Because I want that time now too, I'm working all the time, which is one of the answers to the first question, isn't getting me there. I don't want to miss this time.
That's good. I like that. I work a lot with anxious achievers in my like therapy coaching side of what I do. And I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna tell them, are you contemplating what you're taking time away from by saying yes to this in the present moment? I don't think you are.
It's really important though, because a lot of us, we're just going, right? And then realizing, wait, what did I just miss? You know? So
my goodness, that happens to me all the time when I'm driving. But what about if I knew you in middle school? Would I have known that Natalie would be running a company, like making her parents proud?
Well, I always knew I wanted my own company, but I never knew what I wanted to do. So I was always driven. And, I remember being out when you asked me that. I remember as soon as I could get my babysitter certification, I had all my paperwork. I was going door to door to everyone I knew that had kids, and I was going to work. And that's just how I've always been. So, I mean, that's a good question too. I don't know if you would have, I'm going to have to ask somebody in middle school if they would have known that. But now that I think back to it, I was always taking those steps to do it, to get there.
Fair enough. Sounds like you're on the path, you were on the path and you're still on it now. So seems like maybe I would have known.
Well, and even in pharma, I ran my business like my own, right? I mean, even when I ran my territory, or I did just about every job that I could there, but I ran everything like it was my own business. And I feel like that makes you the most successful when you have that ownership as well. So
That's a very valuable way to go about your life, is act as if you're the CEO of everything, the CEO of your health, or if you're working for somebody else, be the CEO of your domain. What were some of the big challenges for you from going from big pharma, which is, gigantic corporation, to becoming an entrepreneur?
well, it was first kind of a side gig, and then I took it into the full time. And some of the biggest challenges, it's a good job, right? I mean, it's a good job. It's a great way to raise your family. The benefits are fantastic. The flexibility is great. But for me, I just started realizing, there was less contact with the patients. The companies I chose and the products that I chose to represent, I really took a lot of time and made sure I believed in them, made sure they were truly helping people. And so that really fueled me, and being able to work with the patients. And really, most recently, I was in MS, and it could really make a difference for them. But I think as the years started going on, and especially during the early, 2020s, I'll just say it that way, I just saw things I just knew I wasn't as passionate about, and I didn't know if I could be as supportive to, I'm saying this in a nice way, if I could be as supportive to that and give it my all. And so we had started Dr. Doug's just as a side gig, and it was helping so many people. And like I said earlier, I mean, that's really what drives me. And so finally, I just looked at it. I looked at what I was doing in my role and decided to make that change. But the hardest thing was to leave something that, the paycheck's coming in regularly. You have, you don't have to worry about the benefit. I mean, everything is there and set up for you. So all those things about coming in, and then taking the CEO role, even though I tried to act that way in every role. I mean, obviously there are shoulder taps all the time. There's so many bright and shiny objects that take you away from really focusing on the job at hand, or the strategic part of it. And being disciplined enough to always reel back in and get back to that has been quite a learning experience for me, I'll tell you that. But much better. It gets better every day. I think we're our own worst critics.
How else do you stay disciplined other than setting boundaries? Do you have any tools or things that hold you accountable?
When I'm trying to get to a goal, I talk to people about it. I have mentors and colleagues that aren't directly involved in my business, but other entrepreneurs that we hold each other accountable. I have what I call my power hour, and I get up before the household gets up, before my kids get up, before my husband gets up. And that's when I get the most strategic work done. So when I don't do that, I hold myself, if I need, once in a while you need to sleep in, but I get so much less done on those days. So that accountability to myself has been a game changer.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. So you started this with your husband. He's Dr. Doug. I'm assuming. What kind of doctor is he, and what is his back?
Yeah, he's now my husband. He wasn't at the time. We were friends for years. He actually is a board certified neurologist, and he started making these products for himself when he started doing what I call crazy races. Good crazy, but I'm not going to do 100 miles in the freezing cold mountains and everywhere else. Yeah, right. Good crazy. But anyway, so he wanted one product. So there's so many different products out there in the market, and they work, and they have, he was just trying to get into the whole vibe of the racing. So he had all these different products, and he wanted one thing that he could stick in his pack, because they have to carry that with them the whole time, right? And it would prevent blisters, prevent chafing, heal his skin. And so he's super passionate. Even being a MD, he's super passionate about finding the natural ways to embrace something. And so he just started mixing these things in his hotel room, to be honest, like basic ingredients, coconut oil, olive oil, and different types of things in his hotel rooms. And before you know it, he got to this formula that we have now, and it's 7 organic ingredients. And it actually, people were around the country, because they become a family, were asking him, did you bring that miracle stuff? Did you bring that stuff? And so board certified neurologist kind of turned natural skincare maker. So I remember sitting across the table from him one day, and he's just like, gosh, he's telling me all these stories. And I just look at him and I'm like, you really need to sell this stuff. And
Boy.
he's like, I'm a neurologist. I have no idea. I would have no idea how to do that. How about you do that part and I do the other? So that's kind of how our side gig started out.
Oh,
Wow.
does he still practice, or is he now full time in Miracle Balms as well? Doug's Miracle Balm.
So he is actually transitioning right now. He still does all of our R&D and making. We have somebody that helps us obviously now, but he still does the quality control and all the pieces. But he's actually going to he's transitioning to a neuro concierge practice. So we're working on getting that started for him, where he can really serve the patients that want that one-on-one. And it just is going to bring him back to what he's going to miss patient care, right? He would miss being out of total patient care. But if he can treat people, whether it be preventative, if somebody has a history of, let's say, any neurodegenerative disease, but any kind of history of, let's say, Alzheimer's, and they want to be coached to prevent. And a lot of that is nutrition. And I mean, everything we put in our bodies, right? Everything we put on and in our bodies. And so that would be part of the coaching there. Like, how do you cue, at least like put it off or prevent if you possibly can, and also treating those patients with chronic diseases that really want that one-on-one, so they'll have access to him all the time. So he's still going to be doing the R&D and that piece, but at the same time, probably just start out with a handful of patients and see how it works best, because he truly wants to be able to, if they end up in the hospital, he'll travel to wherever they are to be their advocate, that kind of care. So that's what we're working. That's kind of another side thing we're working on right now.
Hey, let's do it. And I love it. There's a lot of MDs that are switching to that concierge like model. So I'm all for it, because to me, it helps personalize things more specifically. So I think that's cool.
And it's better for the patient. And I know it's going to be better for Doug. I'm sure it's better for these physicians as well, because they actually get to why did you go to medical school? Not to like throw drugs onto a patient because you can only see them for 10 or 15 minutes and you can never get the whole story, right? I mean, so that's
Completely.
Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of amazing physicians that kind of push back against that, but that's kind of the world right now.
Cool to hear he's a neurologist too. Like my head was like, oh, he must be a dermatologist or he must be something, but no, straight neurology, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
How has it been building a company with your husband? Like, what are some of the lessons you've learned from, growing something with your spouse?
Yeah. So we just got married about a year and a half ago.
Congratulations.
And we, like I said, thank you. We were just good friends for a really long time. And I don't know, I guess COVID kind of brought people together in different ways. I don't know. But we got to know each other a little differently. So for most of the creation of this business, we were just friends and colleagues, and then just got closer throughout that time. But it's been really good. I mean, he has his side, I have mine. I mean, we work together on a lot of different pieces and the strategy behind some of new products and collaboration products and things of that sort. But other than that, I mean, we really kind of stay in our lanes and focus so that we make sure we can get the job done and get it out to as many people as possible.
I like that. So in relation to your guys' mission is to simplify skincare for everybody. So how do you best simplify this? How do you guys do that?
Well, as I mentioned before, the base of everything we have is 7 organic ingredients. So all of the Dr. Doug's products: coconut oil, olive oil, beeswax, shea butter, a little bit of peppermint and lavender essential oils for the anti-inflammatory and calming properties, and then vitamin E. So that's really it. That is our Miracle Balm. And for me, I use it head to toe after showers every day. It is the only thing that has lasted from shower to shower for me, because I get super dry skin, especially we're getting into that time of the year where, I mean, just flaky everywhere. And I'm not kidding you. I can't even tell you how many products I've bought and put under my sink and spent money on and wished that they would work. I mean, everything out there. This is the only thing something so simple that works so well. So we also have dermatologists that use it that have found that it's helping people who have been on medications for eczema for a long time. So this Miracle Balm, placing it on there. I used to have the bumps on the back of my arms, that KP I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but it's gone now. I didn't anticipate it being gone. My sister's a dermatologist. She said, probably, I don't know if that's going to go with this, but all of a sudden it was gone. So those are kind of the things that we started with. And then each one, we add 1 or 2 added ingredients. So the other 2 best sellers are a magnesium balm. So in that one, we use magnesium chloride in addition to those other ingredients. And that's probably the one he worked the longest and hardest on, because he took the magnesium chloride and he didn't want it to be gritty, or if you've ever used it straight, it actually really burns and then leaves like something on your skin. So he didn't want it. He wanted it to be smooth, massage in well, but get the most magnesium you could. And that's what he would use. Some of the people in his practice that were asking him for natural, for migraines, for restless leg, for sleep, and for neuropathy. And the magnesium is just known to help with that. But the feedback we get is incredible. So that's one. And then we have another one that has some magnesium in it, not quite as much, but also has arnica montana. So for joint pain, any kind of inflammation after workouts, that's the one he actually created that one for his plantar fasciitis originally. And so after workouts, aches and pains, we had some people at Running Man recently, which is an event down in Georgia, and we did a collab with them and put some eucalyptus in the recovery balm. People were walking by and just limping, and we're just like, come over. Nope, no, just feel better. You don't have to, there's no reason to not. So they would stop by, or no obligation. I couldn't think of that word for some reason. So stop by. And before they even got out of their chair, or as soon as they got out of their chair from putting it on, they were just feeling better already, which again, that's what it's all about.
Hell yeah. I like that.
Did
So
I answer your question, Cody? I was long.
Yeah.
That. Okay.
No, it's okay. I love it. That was a beautiful story. It leads to my next one, or it led to another one that I had, is like, who is your ideal person? Like, you have so many different balms. You're using it head to toe. Athletes are using it. Like Dr. Dudson, like he's an extreme athlete. Like, who's your ideal client, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, that's been a hard part. And that kind of goes back to the other part about business, right? Because it's helping so many people. So how do you grow it without reeling in? When you want to help everybody, how do you do that? So that's to go back to your other question, Chloe, that was definitely one of my challenges coming into working this full time and realizing, well, I don't want to leave out this group, but we need to grow in this group. So Cody, to answer your question, athletes for sure, naturopaths, moms, just natural families, moms and dads, I should say. Those are really the focus that we have right now. But again, I mean, even seniors are seeing it help with their arthritis and just daily aches and pains, with their restless leg, so where we're really focusing right now and trying to get the word out most is the athletes and the natural, basically the families who are focused on natural products, and going from there. And the word is spreading word of mouth to everybody else too, so which is great.
What have been some other challenges you've had to overcome from building Dr. Doug's?
Well, hiring people, hiring the right people to help. Since we're still pretty small, there's a lot of jobs that need to be done, right? And a lot of things that I could use to take off my plate. And I started too slow. If I was to do it again, I would be hiring people to do the things that I don't love to do, or I just am going to have to like learn from scratch. And that's hard, right? Because if you're not really making any money yet, it's hard to go out and hire somebody. But I'll tell you, I started with a VA, and now I have a couple others who are working for me, and they're just doing a fantastic job taking things off me so that I could go do the things that we really need to do to grow the business from a strategic perspective. So that was a hard part for me. That was definitely a hard part. I'm glad I've kind of gotten over that, because I need to do that to grow. Take the plunge, go with it.
Big
right?
fan of VAs as well. I love VAs. I have a
We love
fleet
VAs.
of them that help me with stuff as well. So I love it.
They're amazing.
I don't know what I would be able to do without mine. Is there anything skincare to me? Like, I had bad acne when I was in high school. I was on Accutane, so I had to do all this skincare stuff. And so I'm always getting all this stuff like, oh, for a guy, you know a lot about skincare. It's still an enigma to me, though. The skincare industry is wild. Is there anything crazy that you've learned getting into this industry, or any behind the scenes things that you could talk about from the skincare industry in general?
I just think that the regulations aren't as, I'll just say that there's a lot of free thinking in skincare and a lot of different things that you can do to. So let's talk about starting as a natural business. And one of the things that I've learned that we want to do is keep our products being made in small batches. And the reason why, I mean, we've reached out and said, and we've reached out to different manufacturers to find out if they can help us produce, but they want a minimum 10,000 units at a time. And in order to do 10,000 units at a time, they also want you to put some kind of preservative in it. And, and obviously we have to worry about selling that of each unit at one time in early stages of business is a little nerve-wracking, especially because we're not going to put any of those preservatives in. We're going to keep it to ourselves. So we have actually built our own facility down, and we're hoping to be able to offer even some of the services to other small businesses so we can keep our products more natural, because these big companies, they just want to make sure we put this other stuff in, right? I mean, like, look at, I don't want to say any other names, but there's some popular companies that have always been promoted as natural. And now you look at the ingredients. And now you look at the ingredients. Well, okay. Like Burt's Bees. You think that it was always marketed as so natural. Now you look at the ingredients and you're like, wait, what's that? Because they had to when they got so big. And so what can we do? I mean, in my mind, I keep asking myself, what can we do in the skincare industry to keep things from having to be like that, keep them small batch, make more batches more often, and give people the freshest of the fresh. I mean, the shelf life is probably about 18 months if you're not going to, for ours, given the ingredients that are in it. So I try to tell people, don't put it under your sink, just use it. If it doesn't work, we have 100% money back guarantee. So there's no reason to put it under your sink. Let us know, because we want to make it better. But a lot of companies just make decisions based on the money, and if they can make bigger volume, cost is lower, you make more money, right? But I don't think that necessarily needs to be where you go long term. And I really do hope, I feel like society is starting to change and realizing that learning, if they want, our skin is our biggest organ. If we're going to be putting all this stuff, I mean, it's all absorbing. So that's really something that we have to think about as we're thinking about all the other toxins that are unavoidable every day, right?
This is wild. I did not know all of this. This is
Go
amazing.
for it.
I am so happy to hear that you exist. This is great.
Oh, thank you.
These small batches versus big ones. I didn't even know about Burt's Bees. Now I'm just questioning everything in my entire life. This is a conundrum. I thought studying consciousness would mess up my mind, and now I'm just listening to this and seeing scarier. Like,
Oh, I mean, you just never know. So make sure you're looking at the ingredient list.
speaking of ingredients, what are some of the most common toxic things that are in other people's things? Please name them. This is the Decision Lab to help consumers make better decisions. So please name them. But what are some other toxic chemicals and things like that people don't realize that they're putting on their face or in their body?
Well, the easiest, there are so many of them, Cody. So the easiest thing I say is if you can't pronounce it, look it up. You should be able to pronounce, and you should be able to, especially in skincare, you should know what these things are. There are good, even like as we age and the anti-aging, there are natural things we can use, like hyaluronic acid, like niacinamide. These things are more natural and have been proven safe over lots of time. And so there are things that you may want to look up. If you can't pronounce it, that's a concern to me. I feel like you should be able to pronounce everything that you're putting on your body. That's just my opinion. But there are so many different preservatives out there. I mean, you've heard parabens and all kinds of different things that could go into this skincare that it's pretty scary to me. And like I said, I've used everything because I wasn't educated on this before we started it. And I used so much stuff, and I go back and I look at the ingredients now. I'm like, my goodness, what in the world?
Baby Jesus, this is wild. Can't believe it. I'm gonna start looking at everything now. Are there any wild skincare hacks that you've learned on your journey, by the way? Like, sounds like your now husband was an explorer in the throw random things together and see if they work space.
Yeah.
Are there any wild hacks that you've seen?
We have so many different people telling us different things that they could use these products for. I mean, even digestion for the magnesium, like certain moves on your belly that you can use and that are helping people with digestion. I didn't even know anything about this. So we're going to work with her to do a video on and showing people how to do some of the lymphatic drainage, and all of this comes together with skincare. Be simple. I mean, I think the Miracle Balm is the biggest example of a hack, right? Like, I would have never thought that something so simple that's all made with organic food grade ingredients, because let me tell you, all the organic stuff I bought in the past, I don't think it worked for many things, right? I mean, not all of it, but many things out there just didn't do what they promised. And the feedback, the reviews that we get every day, I mean, it just proves that you can keep things simple, kind of go back to that old school apothecary feel and what they used for years and years. We don't have to come up with these new chemicals to make things better. And it actually, in a lot of those cases, it's actually giving more irritation to people. So keep
That's
it
very
simple.
interesting.
Keep your
it simple.
skincare simple, being able to pronounce your ingredient.
What goes into being able to call yourself organic? Because I feel like that's such a buzzword now, but like, if I'm just were to put you on the spot, how do I know you're saying yours is organic? How do I know what you're saying is literally organic? Or like, what makes one of your ingredients organic versus someone who says they have the same ingredient, but theirs isn't organic? Like, what's...
Yeah, that's a good question. And actually, we use only certified organic ingredients in our products, with the exception of a couple things that are natural. So magnesium doesn't come organic, zinc doesn't come organic. So those are the couple that are not. Vitamin E doesn't come organic, but the rest of it. So as long as the percentage is over, I think the qualification is, I don't know if it's 85 or 90%, but you can call it organic. And ours is, they're all over that number. But anything of ours that has a natural ingredient versus an organic ingredient, we change it from organic product to all natural product. And that's an even bigger buzzword, right? Like, all natural. How do we believe you? And again, it's a lot of it's about looking at the products, looking at the ingredients and knowing, but you don't. I mean, there's not really somewhere you could go and say, are they using good quality ingredients? There's just not. You could come to us. We're definitely transparent with it all. But I don't know of any place you can go to find out what any of the drugstore companies are using. And unfortunately, that's also unfortunately, does ChatGPT tell you that? That's a good question. But unfortunately, that's another piece of that, making bigger quantities, right? And the cost of making it, and are the ingredients the same? Are they coming from the same suppliers? Because I could tell you with ours, since we don't put anything to like stabilize, we don't put any extras in it. If when we get a new batch of coconut oil, if it's not amazing, by the way, I send it back to them because I love the smell of coconut oil. And it's so important. But when it comes from somewhere else or it's a new source, he always has to almost start over, right? So what a lot of these bigger, and just make sure the temperature's right and it's going to come out to the right consistency. There's a lot of work that goes into that, but you just have to make sure that I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second.
Okay.
It's okay.
It happens.
What was my question?
I was just curious about organic and what it means to be organic. And like,
yeah, you can get products certified organic. We don't have ours certified yet, but that is definitely on the list. We don't have it certified yet. But for the ingredients, you can contact the companies, I think. I don't think it's on ChatGPT, but that's a good question. I doubt it.
I mean, it'd be interesting. I'd love, because there's more and more natural things coming out about that. I just heard about the first nonstick pan that doesn't have forever chemicals in it. And it's like, okay, then what does yours have in it? Hey, there's no one else think about this, or am I just crazy? But no. So it's just a random thought that I had. Speaking of not having any validation, you've mentioned a couple things here, like helps with joint pain, helps with, I think you mentioned digestion in some way. You mentioned headaches. You mentioned there's a lot of different things that you've been talking about. Has there been any research that you've done with your product specifically, like hardcore research, or is it mostly anecdotal? Just curious.
We've done customer perspective studies. So we have had our customers go or fill out surveys and tell us how it's working for them, what it's working on, and ask them for we did a 21-week study on, well, our own customer perspective study on how is it working day one, week one, and then after a few months. So that is something that we've done ourselves. We haven't gone out and I honestly don't know if we will, maybe eventually. We do want to get the SPF for our zinc product because that's all we use for sunscreen, but we can't promote it as sunscreen because we don't have an SPF for it yet. But those are some of the studies that we'll probably work on before we go out and do other things. So that's why customer perspective studies have been so important for us right now, because we don't want to be telling people that it's doing something that it's not. We can't make claims that Dr. Doug does help, fixes your or cures your restless leg, right? But the anecdotal stories that we hear from other people, I mean, it's amazing how much it's helping.
How much of that is placebo versus the actual effect? Would you guess?
I've asked myself that question sometimes because there are so many people that try the recovery balm and then all of a sudden they're like, wait, could it work that fast? And the first couple, I'm like, it must be in their head. I mean, there's no way it could work that fast. But I'll tell you, so many people have said that now that it's remarkable to me. And it just, again, goes back to that simplicity in that these ingredients that have been used for years and years and years, this is not rocket science. They've been out there. It's just, people can probably make them in their kitchen. It's going to be difficult, but if they really want to, they can go ahead and do that. That's how simple the ingredients are, but they actually work. So why are we trying to find all these other solutions if we go back and try something and it actually works? So, but that's also why we give a money back guarantee, because if it doesn't work for somebody and they've heard from a friend that it worked for them on you name it, we don't want them to feel like they're stuck with it either.
Interesting, especially with a background in neuroscience or like neurology. I'm just surprised that Dr. Doug's not more like, yeah, we should do some placebo blinded like studies and like really get this, like go through some more rigorous like clinical trials. I mean, clinical trials probably kind of wild for Miracle Balm, but just some placebo testing at least, because the mind is so powerful. So it's just interesting.
You know what? I may mention that to him. We'll see. I think that the mind is a powerful thing. But for us, I'll be very honest, we haven't done it to this point because of the cost behind it. Yeah. And we're just trying to pass that savings along to, trying not to raise the prices, make it accessible for people, but also we have to be able to make it and keep it at the quality that it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I'm super curious about what's your process like of, discovering and doing the R&D to actually manufacturing.
Tons of research go into it. And we really have made each one to date for a specific need. So like I said, he created, for example, when he was having his terrible plantar fasciitis and didn't want to stop running. I mean, it was to the point where he was in so much pain and he knew if he stopped running, I mean, we all know what that does. He loves to run and that's his thing. And if he had to stop running, you age fast, right? A lot of people have experienced that. So he just did not want that to happen. He remembers stopping and Googling arnica that day because he had done a ton of research on it in the past for things like bruising and anti-inflammatory. And so that's really where he I heard myself echo and I'm losing my train of thought again, you guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We were on how does Dr. Doug create, a new product?
Okay. So doing the research behind the ingredients is really what has happened to date. And even when I say he was putting together in his hotel room, he still had, his brain is going all the time. Like when he was driving the 14 hours to get to these races, it was constant. He has he makes sure that he takes a lot of quiet time that he could think and research and really he leads that R&D part. But as we make different products for some of our collaborations, right now he's working on a serum, for example, an anti-aging serum. And we're also working on a body balm that's an anti-aging. We've been asked a lot about things like that. So he's doing the research on a lot of those ingredients that can really help people and be effective. And then it's all taking it into the lab, right? And playing with it, having people try it again. That's our kind of our small study and finding out, is this really going to work? Because if it's not going to work, we're not going to bring it to market. But let's do as much as we can to do the right things. And it has a lot to do with temperature, the ingredients, the sourcing, the quality, and then it comes out the other end.
Well, so there's a lot of pre-research y'all do even before getting something to market in general anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. A
That's
lot of
amazing.
trials. It takes about a year for us to get something from like initial stages. We can do it faster, but when we like to not be in a rush and make sure that we get enough people trying it and enough feedback before bringing it out.
So is there anything the doc's cooking up in his lab currently that you could share with us? Like in the future, potentially, like future things you're trying to bring out?
Yeah, I mean, the anti-aging balm is going to be a big one. It'll be similar to what we have right now. I foresee it being similar to our magnesium balm, but with some of the other anti-aging ingredients. But again, going on super smooth, absorbing completely, maybe being able to bring it out with a lymphatic drainage tool, a body brush, something like that.
Love that.
He's working on a serum. He's working on eventually a deodorant. That's a really, really tough one to do, as you can probably tell if you've tried a lot of these natural deodorants. So we're working on that as well. And those are kind of things in the pipeline. The other thing we've been really doing a lot of, which people are loving, is white labeling or collaboration labeling. So we have a huge Chris Kindle market in Carmel, Indiana, that people come to from all over the world, and they're doing a mulled wine, like they call it blue vine for the German piece of it, but it's going to be Mulled Spices Lip Logic. So people love the Lip Logics too. So we've been doing a lot of that, collabing with different organizations to bring them great products, but exclusive to them.
So wild to hear a neurologist that is so excited about this type of stuff. Like what is the secondary benefit of this? Is there anything that connects back to, like, magnesium is a huge thing that your brain is deficient in? Like there's like, but what is the connection between like his passion in brain science and neurology and dermatology and skincare? That seems,
Yeah.
I just keep thinking about that. Besides the performance stuff, that makes sense.
Well, and that's what he got into it for. I mean, really, it was for the performance. It was for his athletic endeavors, and he just loved it. I mean, he was at a time in his life where he just needed something different, something added to it. And he started doing these races, and like I said, they're like family. And so to be able to help that community and be able to work and be doing races now, like that comes together. The one I talked to you about that was in Georgia last month, I mean, he ran a 50K. So 50, you could run anywhere from 5 to 50, and he chose the 50. So,
Surely.
But he loves those are his people. He loves being outside. He loves doing adventure races. And so to be able to bring these products to them, and then he's the same way when the 5-star reviews come through, when he hears people raving about how it's helping them, he just wants to do more. And that's one of the reasons we offer the money back guarantee too. It's because please give us your feedback. If it doesn't work, let's figure out something that may. Maybe that's our next opportunity, is to really figure out something that can help you as well. So we don't get many of those, but we do encourage them because we want to know. I mean, truly, not just a marketing ploy, but like sometimes we think. But
I like that. So talk to me. You're CEO. We tend to be visionary humans. Talk to me 10 years from now. Like, what do you think the skincare industry looks like, or what do you hope it looks like?
I think more and more, I really do think we're going to have more and more small batch companies. People are so much more aware of what's happening in the world and all of the chemicals that we're laden with everywhere. So I feel like the community is really getting more knowledgeable, and we are honored to be a part of that, the community that we educate, and we're going to continue to do that. I hope 10 years from now that even the big companies are almost forced to take this crap out of our products. I mean, I really do. I really do hope that. And I don't know what that will do to companies like ours, but they need to do it. And it's affecting so many people. And from babies, right? From the time that
Yeah.
they're born, we're putting this stuff on and in their bodies. And it so scares me. And I think of what I was putting on my boys when they were babies. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I know more? Right? Why didn't I know more? Why didn't I thought I was being fantastic and being so careful. But then you look deeper and you realize the things that you missed. So
Most ignorant quadrant, man. That's what you don't know that you don't know.
Yeah,
it is.
Stuff in nightmares.
I agree too. I think we're gonna wake up like crazy to the fact that there's all this stuff in our food and our skincare. I mean, even look at the people petitioning Kellogg's right now to change some of their ingredients. It's great. So I really hope too that we apply this to everything and that we have a much, more transparent world.
Anarchy is what we need. Grassroots. It's going to be
Sure.
wild. They're
Love
not ready
that.
for it.
I'm in.
Let's
I'm
go.
in. Let's do it.
All right. It's been a wild time, but it's time to start bringing this in for a landing here a little bit. We have the signature questions. I added a new one that Chloe's going to appreciate. Probably, maybe. We'll see. Do things randomly without permission at times. But we just have a couple that we like to go through. And the first one we always like to ask is, what's a question that you wish people asked you more?
You're throwing me here. Wish they asked me more. I mean, I guess I would say about the story and why we do this. Why, and you did today, but why do you do this? Why did you leave a great job to be an entrepreneur and have so much more work to do? Well, it really is fulfilling. So
It's to change the world one small batch at a time. So I love it.
right. You got it.
I got you. All right. This is the first time this one's going to go live. So I'll try this one out so that you don't have to be on the poster board for it. Yes. But Peter Thiel asked this to entrepreneurs. And the question is, what is an important truth that very few people agree with you on? So a perspective you hold that very few people hold.
I feel like more and more people are holding my perspectives. Maybe it's that focus on the end game that I want them to be more, or I feel like I'm starting to be more conscious of, and I wish more people were. We just feel like we have to work harder.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Let's do it
without
smarter.
asking what's going on.
Yeah. Just keep going. Just keep running, chasing the wheel.
Got it. Okay.
What's a partnership or connection that would really help you outside of them just giving you money?
Yeah. I mean, we are built all in relationships, so I love that. It's really the collaborations, and we've started doing those more and more, but if you have athletes or moms, organic families, however you want to call it, that are really passionate, just spreading the word. I mean, letting them know, we have an affiliate program. We just need to spread the word. Once people try it, they absolutely love it. And that would really help us.
Amazing.
I'm excited. Have you tried it, Chloe? I haven't. I don't think I got any.
No, we haven't tried it yet, but I would definitely love to. The ingredients
I'm
look
about to
amazing.
try some.
I would love to send you guys some. I think
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to do that.
Actually, that'd be kind of perfect. And then when we post the podcast, we can cut this bit out. But when we post the podcast, we can do a review of it, which might be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in. I'll send it to you guys. So shoot me your address.
Amazing.
Perfect. All right. Next question. You're going to get to do this too, but every guest that we have leaves a question for the next guest. So we talked to tons of cool health and wellness, CPG, all sorts of cool products, and they always leave cool questions. Yesterday, we talked to probably the most mindful human that I've ever met in my entire life from the company called Affirmate, which is a mindfulness app, which is not doing it justice, but we have limited time. But the question that he asked you is, how do you decide who the right co-founder is for you?
Oh, well, I personally, the first thing that comes to my mind with that question is somebody completely opposite of me. Somebody who has other skills that I don't, and but they have passion at the same time. So it needs to be somebody who has passion for whatever we're founding, definitely has the passion, has the drive, but has different skill sets. In my mind, that's going to be the best as a co-founder.
Yeah. Complementary skill sets.
Yeah. When the moment where you were talking about, like, you're like, Doug, you need to sell this. He's like, oh, Now, how about you do that? Like, it was
Yeah.
the perfect example of the moment where you're kind of like, we are opposite.
Yes. And we are. And we are. I mean, the thought process is different, but we complement each other at the same time because it's different, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. That's beautiful. Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate it. So what's your question? What's the question you want to leave for the next guest?
I'm going to ask about their end game. I'm really stuck on this right now. So
Okay.
I would say, what are the 3 things that you want at the end of your career? Or at the end of this business that you're in right now? Make sure, what are those 3 things? What are the things that really matter to you? And to ask them to start thinking about that as they go through their days. I feel like it's made such a difference for me.
Okay. I'm writing this down.
Wow, I really like that one. This is making me
Yeah, me
think.
too.
And I'm take some time to journal on this today. Cody, we should have
I
chat
mean,
about
seriously,
this.
write down your 3 things. They're really, it's amazing how it changes your perspective on the things you say yes to, for sure.
100%. I added
Yeah.
a challenge into yours too, because I wrote, what are 3 things that you want at the end of your current business? Be super specific. And then I challenge you to think about it more in your day.
There you go. Perfect.
That's what we'll ask the next one. So what are
Yeah.
your 3 specifics?
So mine are, number 1, being able to spend time with my family, with my kids as they grow. Traveling is a huge one for me. And then really, I want freedom's not the word I wrote down. I'm trying to think of what word I wrote down, but really to have that sense of not having to worry. I don't want to have to worry about money, right? I want to be able to spend the time with family, be able to travel all we want, and not to have any kind of stress with money. So it helps me to think day to day, okay, is this going to take time away from my kids? Is this going to am I going to have to not book a trip or something like that because of saying yes to this? But we also have to save, and what are you going to spend your money on now versus later? So I think all of those things, that was a long answer to your question, but there you go.
It's actually your question, but I love it. I'm literally about to do this with our entire team here in 3 minutes when we jump on our weekly roundup call. So this has been super, super helpful. Great podcast. Thank you so much for pulling back the curtain on the skincare industry and for the work that you're doing out there. Is there
Thank you for
anything that you
having
want to
me.
leave the audience with, or any place you want to send them?
I would love to send them to go to our website, check it out, www.drdougs.com, DRDOUGS, and we're at Dr. Doug's on Instagram and TikTok. We would love to see you, and keep us posted on what you think.
100%. Yeah. We'll put all this in the show notes as well, so they'll have links to click.
Okay, perfect. I also sent a coupon or a gift certificate for your viewers, so that if you could put that code down there, it is Decision Lab. The code's Decision Lab.
All right,
Hey,
everyone.
well, let's just say it out loud. If you're listening, use the code Decision Lab to get some discount on
a $10 gift card. $10 gift card coming your way.
$10. Appreciate that so much. I love it. And if getting $10 for free wasn't enough for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, please do that. And until next time, see you next time. Peace.
Everyone, bye.
Thank you, guys.